Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. My lighting is all jacked up, but I wanted to come on for just a minute while we're waiting on the two Jins to get here. How are you guys? Hey, KPM. Hey, Brandy. Hey, Crystal. Harlot Oscara. Hey, Nadie. Cool Gamer. Hey, Wicked West. J Lord. Hey, Harley Girl. Creme de la Creme. Lynn, hello. Good to see you. Hey, Anonymous. Thank you guys for being here, Melly Lynn, Aries Girl, MK, hey Amber, hey Danielle, Struggle is Real, Neat Noodle, hey Joy, hey Tony, hey Nola Chick. I am so looking forward to going through some of this with you guys. I posted, if you saw my video from last night, I posted some of this. Not everything is in this, but the two Jins are both coming tonight. I figured they're just late getting on, but I wanted to hear their opinions and also your opinions on some of this. So I am really looking forward to this. Hey, B Crumbs. Hey, this Mel Mel. Jojo. Hey, Susan. Music City Mom. Hey, Cutie Pie. True Crime Crazy. She gets to go home. Hey, Susan. Okay, so while we're waiting on them, let me pull this back up, and we're going to go ahead and start looking at some stuff. Okay, so if you missed my video yesterday, we went over a few things from the case file, and I've got a couple more things I just wanted to talk to you guys about. I'll probably pull up the file and then just pull up these page numbers. But first, since we already have this here, I think that this would be a really good place to start. Now, in the file, we hear about 4 videos that Harley makes in the middle of the night. She makes all 4 videos between 2:15 and 3 a.m. And I cannot wait to hear what you guys think. My opinions don't meet YouTube guidelines. So I think I'm going to show that little clip that I have because since we're going to talk about this. Natalie, I know you guys are the bomb. The chat is the bomb. Best chat on the tubes. Hey, Preschool Granny. Connie, good to see you. Oh, thank you, Carla. Okay, so let me just read some of this to you guys. Can you not hear me good? Lover of peonies. Sorry, I'm going to leave. The connecting is so bad for me. Let me know. I'll leave and come back in. Sometimes it does that, and I have no idea why. You're good. Okay. Hey, Rachel. I hope the two Jins are coming soon, but until they come, let's talk about this. So I'll just read some of it. Videos. So this is kind of at the end of the case file, and it's when they are going through warrants from the electronics and things like that. And this actually was written in December of 2020. So if you think about that, Gannon was found that spring, that March. She was arrested that March. So it takes a while. These investigations take forever. Okay, so there were no images on this specific camera. It was a Canon GTX camera, but there were some videos. So the videos searched between January 20th and March 2nd were made by Letecia's daughter, Harley. In the videos, she was creating content for a YouTube channel. The following is a summary of the videos that pertain to this case, and it is not a verbatim transcription. Hey, Chloe Moon, thank you. Hey, Muscles, good to see you. Hey, Headphones, Carbon Foot Princess. Oh, welcome, Crystal. Thank you for being here. Okay, so first video, it's at 2:13 a.m. on February 16th. Now, remember, at this point, they're back in the Carolinas, and I know that's something we're going to talk about with the Jins, but I'm going to read this, and then we'll discuss it with just us first. So, Harley discussed Gannon being missing for 3 weeks. She mentioned how the case has gone nationwide and stated she wanted to discuss some of the assumptions that were made. Harley stated she was with her family that Sunday morning, but she went to work that evening. Harley said her mother told her about the fire around 10:30 p.m. when she returned home. Harley said they were checking on Gannon throughout the night because they were concerned the fire had traumatized him. That is interesting to me that that's what she said. They checked on him throughout the night because they were afraid the fire traumatized him. I know, we're Jen squared. Oh, fun to ski. I'm so glad you're going. Hey, Corky. We missed you. Hey, Jules. Okay, I'm going to keep reading. I was looking for the Jens, but okay. So they were afraid the fire traumatized Gannon. Harley continued, stating she checked on Gannon Monday morning and then went to work. She said she was at work from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. and she has no knowledge of anything and did not help her mother at all. Harley mentioned her mother had an interview with news reporters and came back to the van to speak with her. She stated the news took the conversation between her and her mother out of context and edited the video to make it sound like she said, "Do you want me to say yes?" So in this video, we're going to pause again because I got to make this point. Harley claimed that the news edited that interview. You know, the interview with Letecia's back to the camera and she goes to get Harley and she is kind of coaching her on what to say. That is interesting. So she said the news station took the conversation between her and her mother out of context and edited the video to make it sound like she said, "Do you want me to say yes?" Harley denied making this statement and explained she was asking her mother if she could talk about any other things, such as the fire, because she did not want to hinder the investigation. Harley said people were accusing her of doing it herself or helping her mother. Harley added this is not true. Harley said she's been getting death threats and messages from random people. She said she wanted to remind people she is a minor. She asked for people to focus on Gannon being missing and their family is hurting. Harley said the public needs to stop coming up with accusations. Harley said the video is to bring Gannon home and described him as kind and loving and helpful. Harley discussed the things that Gannon wanted, like helping people. She moved on to Facebook and said the groups were created needed to be taken down. Harley asked people to come together to pray for Gannon to bring him home. She also spoke more about getting threats on Facebook and people trying to ruin her life. Harley again mentioned she wanted to make the video for Gannon and for everyone to come together to think about a child is missing and to stop hurting her family more than they are already hurting. We're almost done with this one. Harley said Gannon was always so sweet and caring and she missed his smile. She said she hoped to find out something soon so he would come home. She told Gannon they all love him and are all there for him and were praying for him. Harley discussed her schedule on Sunday and Monday and said she did not help her mother and did not know anything that happened. So on February 16th, she claimed, and this is not the only time it says this, she claimed she did not help her mother. I'm very curious what she means by that. Help her mother with what? Let's see. She mentioned she saw Gannon Sunday night after the fire and he was fine. Harley said because of all the false accusations that have been made, she's lost everything. Her family has been torn apart. Harley stated the police came, put her in handcuffs, and were screaming at her. She said she did not know why she had to be in handcuffs. She was not a fugitive. Harley said she witnessed her mother have a gun pointed at her, and the police took her phone and her car that she had been paying for. Harley added it was wrong, and the police will not give it back to her. Harley listed other property that was seized, such as passport, birth certificate, and her computer. Interesting, because we know Letecia was also very interested in the passport and computer. Harley said all of that happened because of the false accusations, and she has so much stress on her and is terrified because they might come running at her with a gun again. Harley mentioned she was putting the video on this platform because she has locked down all other social media after people found her. She mentioned people are commenting hateful things and what people are doing is wrong. She accused people of not considering that Gannon is missing and they as a family don't know what to do to help. Harley talked about the video being for Gannon and how they want him to come home and safe. Harley asked people to be proactive to bring Gannon home, and the video concluded. So, hey, Nate, will you do me a huge favor and message Bendy in case they forgot? So this is a long video. The first video that she makes at 2:13 a.m., February the 16th. Many things that she said sound like her mom. Now, I remember back during this time when Gannon was missing, and I remember watching their social media just waiting for any videos from Harley and stuff like that. So that is interesting. Oh, Bendy's here. Okay. Yay. These are videos Harley made that law enforcement found when they downloaded her phone. They were never published. You do have the link, right? Hey, Tiff. Sounds like Letecia wrote what Harley needed to say in the video. She was terrified. Imagine Gannon's fears. It was someone who was supposed to care about him coming at him with a gun. Well, I believe that she was probably pretty terrified just from her mom, right? Although we know that Letecia's brother said at the time that they all believed that she was being wrongfully set up. Thank you, Nay. You're the best. Thank you for trying, and I appreciate you. I've been here, Maniac. Oh, my God. Okay, well, I'm going to drop it in the chat, I guess, because I don't have my phone right here. I definitely thought I did. Here. You do it anyway. I'm sitting here like, damn. I figured, like, usually we'll go ahead and start and just talk for a minute, and then some y'all will come or I'll come to you. There we go. I heard that Letecia and Harley haven't spoken since the court case. I think Harley is really upset when she finally realized who her mom was. I agree with that. I 100% agree. Can you imagine? I mean, even when it comes to her father, you know, what happened to her father? She was fooled her entire life and made to believe one thing. Oh my God almighty, you guys. I cannot believe I did that. And I even clipped the StreamYard link and it's in my clipboard. Okay. I sent it through message too. But yeah, so we'll wait here and just talk about this for a minute while we're waiting on the girls. But I'm going to play something. So I've debated on playing this and I will drop the channel link in the chat. But this was sent to me and this is a clip. So just while we're waiting on them, I edited it and made it my own. Of course, it is fair use, but I just want you guys to see it. It's only about 10 seconds, okay?
So, a candlelight service, but I'm not going to go, obviously. Nope.
All right.
Landon invited me to a candlelight service, but I'm not going to go, obviously. Nope.
All right.
Landon invited me to a candlelight service, but I'm not going to go, obviously.
Okay, so I know that a lot of people have been telling me to watch this. They said that this clip made them, you know, change their entire mind about Harley and that kind of thing. But I want to add, Jen, is that you? Oh, of course it's you with that picture.
No, it's my pee-pee.
I love that picture. It's really cute.
Thank you. I just made it.
Just before we get too much into this, I just want to say I think that at this time, Harley is trying to impress her mother, right? She's trying to do what do you think, Jen?
Well, I think Harley is between a rock and a hard place. Okay. Please hear me out on this, you guys. I know everybody has very, very strong feelings about Harley, but just hear me out. And I might be wrong. I don't know. But this is what I think. I think that Harley is like I said, between a rock and a hard place. She was raised by Letecia, and the way that Letecia acts, she's paranoid and suspect of everyone and thinks everyone is out to get her and is trying to screw her over. And this was long before anything before this murder happened. Okay. And I would imagine that she raised Harley to be that way too. to be fearful of others and not to trust. And when I went over the stuff about Harley through the case files, remember the stuff that the other employees said about Harley in their interviews, that she was a nice girl, but they didn't know anything about her. Yeah. I don't know anybody that age that doesn't make friends with their coworkers and hang out with their at least one after work. And she never did. They didn't know anything about her at all. I have a feeling that even though Harley had a place to stay, she didn't trust it after Letecia got arrested, and her future was very up in the air. And I have a feeling that I know for a fact during at least one of the calls, Harley did something, and now I think it had something to do with selling one of her dresses or talking about a family adopting her. And Letecia said, don't call me mom. And it was really cold. And I believe that I think that when she's on the phone with her mom, she's placating her mom, because what else can she do?
Yeah.
You know, I've not seen one single thing, and that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I've just not seen it or heard it about what arrangements were made for Harley by her mother, give somebody else some type of like power of attorney or guardianship over Harley between 17 and 18. Even if it wasn't that long of a time, anything can happen at any point. And she didn't do any of that. So I do think that there's a lot of Harley placating. I also think that some of the stuff that Harley is doing is also part of Harley and who she is. It's her personality. I mean, look who raised her.
Yeah. Yep. And that's not going to change. And, I remember, I know that when you're raised by a narcissistic parent, a lot of times there are certain personality disorders that you are more likely to have because of the way that you were raised, and I'm not trying to make excuses for it. I want to talk about this. This is why we're doing this live tonight, because I want to hear your opinions, Jen's and the other Jen too. And no matter what it is. So don't think, oh, you're just making excuses for it. It is truly, honestly, I agree with Jen. I think that she was placating. I think that, she was trying to stay on mom's good side. And I believe that if you get on Letecia's bad side, there's always going to be issues for you, even before this, right? Because like we've talked, I think this whole house revolved around Letecia's emotions and her emotional mood swings. But Jen, so let me hear what you think about this first video that was not published. The first one is this long one, and there are a couple things in it that I want to hear your opinion on that I think are so interesting. So one of the things, she says that the news edited that interview to make it seem like she said something she didn't say. Do you think that's Letecia coming through her? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so when I did that live, the 11 billion things about Harley, I went over this. And what I did was I found that interview, the news interview, and I enhanced the audio.
Okay.
And the news, it's not edited. So there are certain, listen, I'm not a professional by any stretch of the imagination, okay? MGM ain't calling me, Paramount ain't calling me. I'm not, you're never going to see Jen Liu in a main title, in the title of a movie as an editor, okay? But there are some things that I've learned along the way from editing my own videos. And editing voices when they're speaking on top of one another is incredibly difficult to do. Can it be done? Sure. But why would the news do that? They don't have a reason to edit that interview. In fact, the truth of the matter is, the edit that was made to that interview was a benefit to Letecia. They could have left the interview as it went in its entirety. And when she asked for them to do it again, and then she starts crying with the message to Gannon. But they, the way that they cut, the one they cut out, and because that was her original answer, they left the original take in, which they could have left the whole thing in where she wanted to redo it, and that would have made her look 11 billion times worse. But anyway, so when I enhance that audio, Letecia, because she's the one that is mic'd and she's closest to the mic, so her voice is the loudest. But you can hear Harley say very clearly, so you want me to say yes? And Letecia is talking over top of her at the very end of it, and sort of at the beginning of it too. There's really no reason for the news to do it. So the interview, in my opinion, that portion of it, it was not edited in any way, shape, or form to make Harley look bad. Listen, Harley, I'm going to give you some advice. The internet is forever, okay? And if the best thing for you to do is when you do something wrong, just own up to it and apologize. People are far more forgiving than I think people, obviously there's some things that are not forgivable, i.e. what Letecia did, okay? But just say, we all heard what you said, so just own it.
Yep, agree.
That's all you can do.
If you guys missed Jen's video on 11 billion things about Harley, yay, Curious Jen's here. I've been dropping their links. Definitely go check it out. Harley's on the thumbnail. You won't miss it. It's one of her more recent lives. So definitely go check that out, because I think that's pretty interesting to see the interview like that and the enhancing the audio and that kind of thing. But do you guys think that Letecia was coaching her to do these videos? And hey, yes. Curious Jen.
Hey, Curious Jen. Yes, I do. The reason I say that is because when you listen to that interview that Letecia gave to the news, I just realized something. I got a comment not too long ago that I pronounced Letecia's name different ways. I'll say the real way to say it is Letecia, but everybody says it Letecia. And so I constantly am back and forth. I just realized I just did it. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, when you listen to that interview from Letecia, what you hear is when she's just talking about what happened with Harley, she is very emphatic in the way that she says the word minor. That is a very important detail that she wants people to understand. And although we can't actually hear what Harley says, that's just not the way that kids talk. They typically do not refer to themselves as minors. Right. They would have no reason to. But an adult would refer to somebody under 18 as a minor. Minors don't typically remind people that they're minors. It's like it's redundant. You're talking, you're speaking. So we know a minor is speaking. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. And we've heard it from Letecia too.
She says it all the time.
Hey, Mind of Monsters. She said, hey, y'all, I pronounce it like Letecia, however you want to say it. Who was it
that came up with when she was giving her interrogation and she stood in front of the camera and said she peed her pants? Who was it that called her Letecia?
Yes, Letecia. I don't remember.
I almost couldn't get through it remembering her standing up. I peed my pants a little, or whatever it was she said.
Yes, I remember that. And then we changed her nickname. We kept changing it around.
Yes. Letecia, Letecia.
Legrecia.
I think I called her the Grudge for a minute.
Oh, awesome, Bushi. And I'm curious, both of these ladies have awesome channels with tons of information. Okay, Curious Jen, what do you think? Curious Jen, what do you think about these videos, and specifically the first one, the news editing it, the minor comments, any of that stuff?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like we talked about before, and forgive me because I am still in the car out driving around doing my side hustle.
Okay, Letecia.
Right.
At least you know how to work speakerphone correctly.
Right.
Huge fan.
I spelled "find me a rich guy" wrong and ended up doing Walmart deliveries instead.
Ah, balls.
Find a Mexican who will take the blame for a crime. No, I mean,
Right.
Let me say right now, not this Mexican.
are you like fashion?
I'm fashion.
I hope that you guys can't hear my GPS. I don't know if you can or not.
No, we can't.
I can hear you perfect.
No,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
we can't
so-
hear her GPS.
No,
That's what she
yeah.
asked.
Yeah, no, I can.
Okay, good. It's always good. You want to hear, yeah. That's
I'm on the edge of
doing
my
those
seat.
videos on her own.
Hold on, you cut out completely for a second. Okay, you're back now. Jen, is that me or is that her?
It's her because I can hear you just fine. Yes, that was another nickname we came up with, Samara
Yeah.
from the ring. And I had several thumbnails of her using that background.
Yeah, they were pretty funny. Curious, Jen, you were breaking
Okay,
up quite.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so especially at that time when Letecia was in charge of everything, there's just no way that Harley would have, of her own accord, decided to make that video. Letecia was absolutely the director and the script writer, and I feel like Harley was supposed to be making that video and doing exactly what she was told. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They're
I completely
just
agree.
yeah, they're just, and I'm sorry if that's already been said.
No, that's okay. I mean, a
Um,
little bit, but I wanted to know what you thought. What you got, both of you guys think.
Yeah, Letecia was absolutely the director, without a doubt. Not that Harley's not capable of making her own videos and all of that stuff, but there's just no reality where on this topic, with Gannon missing right around the same time as those pretext calls she was having with Albert, she's still lying about being in Colorado Springs. Harley is not going to, take it upon herself. And I know, some people might say, well, she took it upon herself to cancel Albert off of the life insurance policy. But this is different. This video would have been seen by, thousands and thousands of people, and I just don't think that Harley was able to get it right. But Letecia was 100% in charge.
Right. So, okay, we had the first one is a long video, but if we look here, we've got these last three videos. One's at 2:32, and I wish we knew what it was labeled. Video labeled blank was created, at 2:32. Harley discussed Gannon being missing and her work schedule. She denied knowing what happened to Gannon or helping her mother. The content of the video was similar to the video labeled blank. The video concluded. And the comments that she's making about not helping her mom, I can't help that stands out to me too. It's like, helping her what?
Right. Helping her what? Exactly. Well, and I don't know if you talked about it or not, but the thing that keeps coming back to my mind is that GoFundMe that was created, right about that time. And I just have to wonder if, Letecia created this GoFundMe and then Harley was supposed to put out this, basically marketing video. How she keeps talking about how it's about Gannon and we need to bring Gannon home.
Yeah.
And all of that.
Well, I have not talked about the GoFundMe because I was waiting on
okay.
you guys. So I thought I had copied the link and I thought I sent it. So I just started and I was like, okay, they're late. And I was like, we'll just wait. And I didn't really want to get into anything like, especially the GoFundMe and stuff without you guys. But then I found out I didn't send the damn link and then I sent it and here we are. So, but no, we have not gotten into that at all yet.
So I think that to Jen's point, that's one of the reasons why the videos never were uploaded for one, like Jen pointed out, this was at the time, and we heard part of these in court. So this was when the pretext calls were going on. And at this point, Al is now in believe Tisha mode. He said that because I remember that being played in court, and I remember them specifically talking about Valentine's Day. So obviously Valentine's Day is February 14th. These videos are the 16th. There was a pretext call on the 15th. So I think part of the reason why the videos didn't make the cut, were never uploaded, is one, because Letecia knew that law enforcement and Al would be studying the background, what was going on in the background of those videos. It's very, I mean, you can do it, but you know, just to get Harley's face without any background at all would be very difficult. And then, correct, and locate. See, once that's published, then law enforcement can subpoena whatever social media platform you're on, and it's published to, and ask that it not, you know, there's a term for it, and they use it several times throughout this. It's basically it saves the profile. Nothing can be, the user of the profile cannot delete things. It's saved. So anyway, they can't make any changes to the profile. So then they could get her location. Also, so then they would definitely know exactly where she was. But more to the point, and I think for Letecia's purposes, looking at the background, you can tell the difference when you're staying at somebody's home than when you're staying at the hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Okay. So that was the other thing. I think the other reason they were not uploaded is I don't think that Harley could emote properly. It's very difficult to be emotional when the words are not from yourself, when they're not from the heart. And it's hard, it's difficult to be that manipulative on cue. And I think that the part about I didn't help my mom, I think that might have been ad-libbed, because let's be honest, Letecia would not be suggesting to Harley, hey, go ahead and tell all the folks out there and in the world that you didn't help me, because what? I didn't do anything. So what would you be not helping me not do? Right. So I think that's why they were never uploaded.
Okay, I just want to pause for a second, because I do want to, I want to get into the GoFundMe, but I have 2 comments I got to read. So Buttercup says, can I just say that I adore Jen so much? I hope it's okay to say that here. Really loving how comfortable this channel is making me this morning. And that is really sweet. And you, of course, can say that. I adore both Jen so much. It's absolutely okay. Then, I don't know which one, but she adores you guys. And then Debbie says, I'm so happy I found your channel. I really appreciate all that you share with us. You're definitely the very best here on YouTube, and that is so sweet. Thank you, Debbie. Aww. And Buttercup had a very sweet one earlier, too. Thank you, guys, for being so wonderful. Oh, thank you, Debbie. That was really sweet. Thank you. Okay, so just quickly, their last 2 videos, we have one at 2:36. In this video, she starts to talk about accusations made that were hindering the investigation. She says we should be kind to one another, focus on Gannon and the other missing children. You know, she shouldn't be getting death threats. I'm not going to read it verbatim just because it's in the video last night, and you guys pretty much know. But regardless, she starts to talk again about how, you know, police hunted her down, put her in handcuffs, took all of her property. She said she was not even there. She was at work and has done nothing wrong. Harley said she wanted drama to stop and wants to bring her brother home. She also said she misses him, loves him, wants him there. And then we have the very last video where Harley stated she wanted to say her mom would never do anything to hurt those children because she loved them like they were her own and she would do anything for them. Harley added her mother loved them with all her heart. Harley showed Gannon the dogs and told him they missed him and loved him and they wanted him home. So that video is the most interesting to me just because it's a, 1-minute video or something where the only purpose you have for it is to say, hey, my mom would never hurt those kids. She loved them so much, loved them with all her heart, and it's Letecia. You know what I mean? It's just so interesting. I wish they would have posted them, but back in the day, I remember waiting on something, somebody to say something.
I wish that we could get our hands on those videos, because it's very hard to hear. Obviously, you can't hear tone through text. And I'm curious, like, if she stumbled around on her words, kind of like me, how it takes me like 11 billion light years to get around to the actual point. Like, I stumble a lot. And I wonder if there was that, because that's a sign of somebody being natural. They're not script, like when I do a pre-recorded video, I mean, I can read, and I wrote it, and I can read my own handwriting. So I usually don't mess those up because I can read. So, but when I'm just talking, like you guys are familiar with my brand. This is how I sound. So right. I'm curious about that. And I'm also curious about the tense that she used, because at this point, saying loved is clearly past tense. Like, when I speak about my mom, I love my mom. There's no past tense to it. Even though she's no longer living, I don't say I loved my mom.
Right.
Why would I? Because I still currently love her. So the use of past tense is interesting to me, because it's usually the opposite. It's usually when somebody dies suddenly, doesn't matter how it happens, just that they're no longer with you. It takes you a long time to start to refer to things that they did in the past tense.
Yeah.
You typically refer to them as currently in the present tense. Yeah. I wish my sister could be here, and she could tell you how I taught her how to understand past, present, and future tense by punching her.
Punching her.
I did.
Just a second, because Sexy Wild Thing Carol freaking Claus gifted. Thank you so very much. And also, yeah, thank you. That's very sweet. And I know that the people who not won the memberships but received them really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Aww.
I appreciate that.
But yes, it's very interesting, the language. But see, this is where I have the problem. It's a synopsis of what was said. It's not a direct transcript. And if I can't have the video, then I would like to have the actual transcript, because I need to see I need to read exactly what Harley said in those videos. Ideally, I would like to have the video themselves, because I would be studying those like it was my full-time job, every little detail. Because there is part of me that will probably, I side-eye Harley, but I not in the way that people think, because I do understand who raised her. And so because you guys know, I'm always trying to figure out how much of nature versus nurture is it really. Like, I'm always trying to get to that point, and it's different for different people. But I think if I had enough samples of Harley, that I could kind of figure out whether which percentage was greater. Was it the way that she was raised, or is this part of her personality? Because we have a ton of stuff from currently, right? So that's a good comparison. And then if we had those videos from the past, that would be helpful too. It's not scientific, and I'm not qualified, but just to talk about it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, it is scientific, but it's not for me because I'm not qualified. That's what they would do.
The nature versus nurture conversation is very interesting. Hey, Shmita, by the way, and Jacinda, I don't know what you mean by that. Hey, Katie, what do you think, Curious Jen? Anything on this before we move on to the GoFundMe?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get my hands on them as well. And I did send an email. I'm not holding my breath that we can get our hands on them. And I almost hate to even say that, on the air, so to speak. But, if we can, we will. I just, I wish it would have been transcribed verbatim. But I feel the same way about Letecia's call to the tip line from the jail. I wish that would have also been transcribed verbatim.
Yeah, me too. Agree.
And I was thinking too, I mean, as polarizing a topic as Harley is, can you imagine the division if she had put out a video like that? I mean, I remember she did put out her biblical testimony in like 3 or 4 or 5 parts or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And she was almost whispering. It was practically like an ASMR. And she kind of touched on Gannon some, but not really. Did you guys, surely you guys saw that.
Yes, I did. And I remember when they came out, because I was hanging on to every word, waiting for her to say something about Gannon, and it just wasn't really there. There wasn't much. I don't remember in detail the videos, but I definitely remember when they were coming out. That's why I said I would have seen if she would have posted.
The only thing Letecia said publicly that wasn't on Facebook, under her name or somebody else's, was that KKTV interview with her back to the camera. So, once again, so now she wants, Harley to speak up for her, but it's not as easy making Harley your puppet if you haven't just taken her phone and pretended to be her. If you're actually trying to direct her in a production, I just imagine Letecia being so frustrated by trying to put it all together.
Yeah. Anonymous, thank you so much. Anonymous says, props to this channel for welcoming people to share different opinions, and mad respect for transparently sharing public records obtained. And I know that me and the girls, that was a huge thing about it. Like, if we got this stuff, we wanted it to be available for everybody, not guarding it like it's like, I don't know.
Sitting on it like Smog sits on the treasure and the Lonely Mountain.
If it's about awareness or any, learning from something or anything, if there's a child missing and the information you're sharing might help find them, regardless of what it's about, like at the end of the day, if your videos have any level of awareness to them, wouldn't you want that stuff to be shared? You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel. Like, I don't know. That's just me. But so that's the way we're going to do things here.
Public records are just that, for the public.
Yeah. Okay, I was thinking about the past tense used in the video. Nothing. Oh, that's okay, Jacinda. Yeah, I just want to make sure that we, if there was an answer to the question that we did. Okay, so the GoFundMe. Just a minute.
I'm curious, though, when Harley showed the picture of the dogs, or showed the dogs on the video, to me, the dogs are an interesting component, because I think back to Landon's interview and some of the things that she said. And the fact is, Landon could only get some of that stuff that she said about the dogs from Lena and Gannon, like her children telling her some things. And it's interesting to me that Harley is always wanting to bring shit back to those dogs, which, listen, I am a huge dog lover. I love all animals. But it just says a little something about Harley, because it's really, to me, it's not that I don't think that Gannon and Lena loved those dogs. I don't think that. It's just that the dogs were very clearly Letecia and Harley's dogs, not Gannon and Lena's dogs. And nothing is more, and the fact of the matter is that whole text exchange between Harley and Letecia the night of the candle fire, that is very clear. It's not that I don't think that it's necessarily that Harley doesn't care about Lena or Gannon. I don't think that's what it is. I think that this is just my personal opinion, and I don't know for sure. I just think that when you take the whole conversation and you in context, and then you also think about the people that are actively participating in that conversation, and you kind of understand that Letecia wrote it the way that she did intentionally to be vague, and she was intentionally, in my opinion, not mentioning Gannon immediately. So if the person who's seeing the situation, the story, right, you start to ask questions after they finish their story. And because she didn't mention Gannon, Letecia didn't, I kind of think that Harley might have been initially under the impression that Gannon was not involved. Because the first thing she tells Harley is that there was the fire and that she had Lena get the dogs out. She doesn't mention Gannon until more questions are asked. There's follow-up conversation. And I think she did that on purpose. She didn't want Lena, or she wasn't going to offer the information freely. Because if you've watched anything on true crime, when 911 is called and the perpetrator is the one doing the 911 calling and they offer too much information in the beginning, red flag. So what I think Letecia was doing was intentionally writing it the way that she did to get Harley to ask her questions. So then she could tell the story about Gannon. That's what I think.
And I don't know. It's weird. Go ahead.
It's weird. The whole conversation is weird.
It is.
The whole vibe in that household was weird. I'm not even going to lie. It's, especially, it was just weird.
Well, the dogs don't matter more than people. At the end of the day, it almost gives you that like feeling in a way. But so it is kind of odd because the dogs are like the main concern, not even the little kids, or I don't know. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it is a bizarre exchange, but I've been thinking about it a lot. And I kind of am wondering if Letecia didn't do that intentionally in order to get Harley to ask about Gannon, because she wanted to tell about Gannon, but I think she felt like she needed Harley to, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't think she at that point knew exactly how this was going to go quite yet. Do you know what I mean? This was early this was in the beginning of the game for her. For her, it's not a game to anybody else, but to Letecia is very much a game.
Absolutely, it is. Hey, Roxanne, by the way, and thank you so much, Carol freaking Claus. Thank you. And I appreciate that tons. Duke said, I want Harley to write a book about growing up with a murderer mom. And then I saved this comment. Ashley PG says, people don't understand what it's like to have a cluster B mom, a mom accused of murder. It wasn't until I was 33 and in therapy that I learned I was my own person who didn't have to appease my mom. I'm so sorry, Ashley.
Wow.
And thank you for sharing.
That's hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And that's under, like, growing up with a cluster B parent, that's under not normal circumstances, isn't, because that's cluster B is a difficult, but can you imagine if on top of it, your mom committed this murder? Okay. And then it made national news. Right. The trial then 3 years later is streamed publicly and it will be on the internet forever.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm taking a wait and see approach with Harley. I'm going to wait and see what she does with her life.
Well, that's where I'm at too. But I gotta say, like, I do understand, people who feel like she was quite cold and stuff like that. I can see where you're coming from. Yeah.
I can see it too. But, and there are times when she does come across very, very cold and very, very selfish. But then I remember her age at the time. And I think about, that's a kind of a selfish time. So for me, I can acknowledge all of those things to be true and still say she's young enough that if she wants to change, she will. She can. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where I'm at with her.
And we'll just have to wait and see. Elliot says, hi, I followed this case for a while, only saw snippets. I've been catching up on your lives about the documents. I appreciate what y'all are doing. Thank you so much, Elliot. And then Malibu Surfer said, such an informative channel. Hey, I'm glad I found you. And hey,
hey,
I'm glad you did too. Well, Curious Crumb. I'm sorry, ladies. My phone doesn't want me to stream and drive. Well, I'll read this, and if if you can jump back up in a second, then we will do that. Carol freaking Claus, Alex freaking Erickson, member for 8 months. Thank you for being a member. I can't believe it's been 8 months. Time, that's crazy. Time flies. Like Jordan's was 20. I'm like, what? 20 months?
Yeah, I know. It feels like just yesterday that, I started my channel. When I get those milestones, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so follow up with GoFundMe. So this was, I have the page before it, but I don't remember exactly which detective was writing this, but I won't guess, even though I think I know. But it says, at approximately 12:20 hours, I visited the website GoFundMe.com and searched Letecia Stauch. This search provided the result of Fountain, Colorado, help bring Gannon home, raising money in hopes of bringing Gannon home healthy and whole. T. $0 of 150,000 was raised. I was unable to visit the link as the campaign had already been removed. When I searched blank, a campaign in Conway, South Carolina titled Finding Gannon popped up. The campaign was created 3 hours ago and did not have any information on who the money was going to. I think it's supposed to be Finding Gannon. The content of the campaign appeared to be similar to a Facebook fundraising page belonging to Landon Hyatt's uncle, intended to raise money for Gannon to be able to stay, or for Landon to be able to stay in Colorado to help search for her son. 0 of the 1,500 had been raised. So I knew that Gannon had done some funds to be able, because she had to miss work, travel, eat, find a place to stay, all of those things. But absolutely no idea until Curious Jen told me, and I looked here, that Letecia had a GoFundMe for $150,000 that was titled, the title is the worst part, help bring Gannon home, raising money in hopes of bringing Gannon home healthy and whole. Like, it's like you think that she could never do something else that would surprise you because she's so dirty, disgusting, and deceitful. But
and then here she comes.
Yes, and then there she is. Oh,
yeah. So. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, first of all, the word, you're right. It's the wording. The healthy, happy, and whole is what's troubling. Because even if you take it like, let's say she was being sincere, right? And let's say her story about Eduardo was true, right? And all that happened. That's just, how about just bring him home? Most GoFundMe's for that. And 150,000 also. What are you doing with 150,000? Like Landon's for 1,500 makes sense. That's a realistic amount to try to get if you're, you need to stay in town and all of those things. But Letecia over here with her 150,000, like, what are you paying ransom, bitch?
I know. Like you said, 1,500. Okay. That's like normal for maybe a few nights in a hotel and food and travel.
Yeah. That's reasonable.
150 freaking thousand. How dare you? How dare you, lady? How do you take, let's not forget how absolutely violent this was. You know what I mean? And gruesome. Mm-hmm. And how do you do that? And you walk away and you're like, ooh, I can make money from this, or ooh, I can get sympathy from this, or you know what I mean? It's just disgusting.
Right. I can benefit financially in some way from this. That's what makes it so disgusting, I think. She's so gross. $150,000.
It's for her face transplant.
That's what I was thinking. Is it for her face transplant? Selfish bitch.
Oh my God.
How about $15 and I get you some good shampoo and conditioner and you wash that hair, that mop on top of your head? How about that?
No doubt. Had a couple other things, but since Jen keeps falling off, I think that I won't go much into this, but I do want to chat with you for a second about these pretext calls. Are you excited?
Yes, I'm excited and apprehensive at the same time, only because it's Letecia on speakerphone for hours, bullshitting. So I already know but it's going to be annoying, but I want to hear them. I don't know why. I can't explain it to me. I can't explain it why it's important to me that I hear every single second of these calls. I don't know why. I can't tell you, but it is.
I know. I feel the exact same way. I don't know why. Like, I want to know every detail of this. Every little thing I find so interesting. And I can't wait to hear all of those calls. I'm with you though, because we had such headaches after those days in court. Like, it was just the most stressful days. So I think that things are going to be a little tense at that time. And Ashley, I am so sorry that you've experienced that, and I appreciate you sharing. Melanie says another channel creator said there were no other calls that the court didn't show. Well, that is just not accurate.
Yeah, so there are the pretext calls. They talked about that in court. They
but
said,
you have to watch the trial to see that.
Right. Yeah, you'd have. So it was the prosecutor explained what the pretext calls were and how many there were and how many hours of them there were, and that he was only going to be playing snippets. And I just thought of something. Part of the reason I know why I want to hear what's on those is because those are snippets that the prosecution played because in their mind, in their opinion, those are the important parts of the pretext calls. But what I'm curious about is if we all get together and we all listen to them, will we think there were other parts that are also important? We're all going to hear the same thing, right? The calls are the calls. But our takeaway from it is going to be different. And so for me, part of me wants to understand also the prosecutions. I'm curious about this too. When a prosecutor lays out the case during a trial, they've already planned it. They already know how they're going to, there's wiggle room there depending on the objections, and you have some moving parts, right? But for the most part, they go into day one of the trial after jury selection, which is really day two, or however long jury selection takes. But anyway, and they lay out the evidence that they think is their strongest and their best, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm always curious when you have an opportunity to get the discovery, which is the investigation, right? Mm-hmm. Why they picked those. And are there other details in there that are also significant and also important, but in the interest of time, like if he even said if he played all of those calls in totality, that they would be in court for like 3 months. There's hours of them.
There's 24 calls. We listened to less than 10, I think. And there is so much that was not played in court. And Melanie, I knew what you mean, and I appreciate you for letting me know. And thank you again to Claus, and thank you to B Crumbs for gifting. I appreciate that so much. But Jen, to your point about like what they find important, look at all the things in the case file that we found interesting, or you know what I mean, that weren't in the trial. So I think you're right. There's going to be a ton.
And I do think that I personally believe that the burden of a prosecutor is very different, clearly, than the burden of the public, right? I have no burden. I mean, I have several burdens, but not in a courtroom setting, right? So I don't have to prove anything. And so I know part of the reason why they pick the things that they pick is because they feel that it will meet their burden of proof in a succinct way that is easy for a jury to connect all of the dots. But there's always things in the case file, and there's always questions at the end of a trial that sometimes don't get answered by the trial itself. But sometimes those answers lie in the case file. And that's also another reason why I want to get my hands on this. Well, we have the reports, but that's another reason I want to get my hands on these pretext calls, because I'm curious if there is a question in those calls a question I have that gets answered in those calls. Do you know what else I would like to have that I know we won't get, but I would love to have? I want to know the jurors' questions. All of the questions, not the ones that were asked. Because remember, the jurors would submit their questions to the bailiff would take it to the judge would call over the prosecutor and the defense, and they would decide which questions would get asked. Not all of the questions got asked. And I want to know what questions the jury had. I wish that the jury would come out and do an interview, one juror, just because I want to know what they asked.
I feel like, did one come out that we talked about right after? Or no?
I can't remember if it was this case, though.
I know, because Lori was at the same time, and jurors definitely came up with that one. But I thought maybe one for this one, but I don't remember.
I'll look and see. If they did, we will find it. But that is what I want to know, what the jurors asked. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I would also love to know that. I think there are important parts we didn't hear in court. There was something. Oh, yes. Music City Mom. No, Katie. The lady said it was going to take a couple weeks, like a week ago. So we probably have a few more days before we get them. But they're coming soon. And when we do get them, we are not going to. We've already decided. I think we're going to do like half and half, and then I don't know what we're going to do, but regardless, we've decided that when we play them, we're not going to interrupt for commentary or anything. We'll play one and then we can talk about it, or however we decide to do it. But when we do, we're not
when we play them, we'll be playing them in their entirety, one call at a time, with no commentary from us, so that you guys can hear them the way that they were, without us pausing and interrupting. Because can you imagine, let's be honest, we're reading 2 pages here, and Allie's been live since 7 o'clock. It's been an hour, and look how much we've talked about, and we've read 2 pages. Can you imagine the amount of things that I'm going to have to say about calls that last 30, 45, an hour? Hell, I would have a lot if they lasted 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's Letecia.
We can't do that. We can't do it. There would be so much to say. We already know. And then the other thing, the reason I said Music City Mom, I've got all these thoughts going at one time, and I'm trying to get them out. Music City Mom said, what do you guys think about Harley's GoFundMe? So I went to find it. I don't see that it's still listed, but I do remember that she had one. And I believe it was for because of her car and school and things like that, just for general expenses. Now, if I go and look at her Instagram account, I'll just go ahead and flip over. There is no GoFundMe on this link. So that when you click that link, it takes you here, and it gives you Instagram, TikTok, Cash App, all that stuff. Don't see a GoFundMe, but I will say her most recent posted post was August the 17th, and she was in Tampa, Florida. So, I don't know if the GoFundMe is a thing of the past, but regardless, I think that, look, I can see why people have issues with it.
Those camps are cute.
They are cute. I can see why people have issues with it. And also, I'm thinking this young lady is still a kid in my eyes. That's just the way I see it. And she has nothing and nobody. And I cannot even imagine, because at 33 years old, as I sit here today, I can tell you what, I know for a fact that I will never, I can depend on my parents, on other people in my life, that there are people that have got my back, right? If we come into hard times, and she doesn't have that at all. So, I don't know.
And we also have to remember too, about how we're having a GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen people do GoFundMes for less.
Right.
So I'll say this. When we are looking at Harley, remember and keep in mind that, just like Smash Mouth says, wait, I don't think they say this, but they say all that glitters is gold, but all that glitters is not gold. And the truth of the matter is, when we're looking at her social media, we see a picture of her right here, right? She's a beautiful girl. She looks happy. We have zero idea what's going on inside. And that's the thing about social media. Yeah. It is only a snapshot. I mean, now, don't get me wrong. There are some people who put their whole life on social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but most people don't. this are the kind of pictures that you will see on their social media. It's just a part of their lives. We have no idea what is going through Harley's mind at any given time, what she thinks about before she goes to sleep at night. If she has trouble sleeping at night, we don't know.
Right. That's a good point. It's a highlight reel for most people, right? It's like the best moment.
Especially Instagram.
Yep. Exactly. Oh, Ashley, I'm so glad you guys are here. You're exactly right. Instagram, even more than most, social media platforms, because this is not where you're vlogging your life or this or that. You're posting aesthetically pleasing photos,
Correct.
I'll flip through a couple of hers because she's got some good ones. She apparently went to an art show, an art gallery. She says, this past year, I've been learning more about myself and learning new things that I enjoy doing. And this was undoubtedly an amazing experience. It's inspiring to see how others express their creativity. So, she's out there living her life. I think she is trying to figure out who she is. I see why people have their opinions of her, and you're welcome to have them. And also, I can see why people are trying to give her some grace. And I also think that I definitely, some people are just being a little too harsh with her, and it's sometimes a little tough to know about or hear about. So, that's all. That's really all I've got on that. If I go any further.
What can we, listen, she's a person like the rest of us, right? So she's going to post and say and do things that we're going to be like, oh, good for her. But then conversely, she's going to post, say, and do things, and we're going to be like, what the fuck? Or ew, you know what I mean? She's human. So we can all have different opinions, and those opinions are allowed to change and all of that stuff, because she is human. So she's young. So, I'm curious. I want to see what she makes with her life, what she does with her life,
Absolutely. Hey, Skylab. Well, Jen, I am so thankful that you're back. I think we'll cut it here, because don't you have something planned for tonight?
Yeah, but I made it not until like 9:30, because I figured we'd be talking for a long time. So yeah.
Okay, good. Because I was thinking you need a few minutes to get to breathe and stuff. But yeah, I'm so happy that you're back and joining. Even though it wasn't that long, I swear, when I heard you today start talking about this case again, I was just like, all this excitement inside.
Oh, well, okay. So everybody knows Minnie Bendy has moved, and that was a week ago tomorrow. And it was very, very hard on your girl. I know that it's healthy. I know it's what she's supposed to be doing and all of those things. Like, the rational part of my brain knows that. But then there's that part then there was the other part of my brain that walked into that bedroom after she'd left and all of her stuff was gone. And I was sad, and I was incredibly sad for a while. I'm still sad. I miss her very much, but I know this is what she needs. And I did not want to come live when I was emotional, because I usually don't express sadness in a healthy way. I'm usually short, and I'm very irritated, and I didn't want it. It's easier. I'm more comfortable expressing anger than I am sadness. And I didn't want to come live and be around people who were probably just asking a regular question, and I didn't want to snap at anybody because I was off. I just didn't want to do that to anybody because I wasn't feeling myself. And so I just was like, I'm going to take this time. I spent a lot of time with her before she moved out. And then after she moved out, I decided to turn her bedroom, because she took all of her furniture and stuff. So I made it into my little office and everything. So, because I needed a project. And so that's what I did.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. The project gives you something to keep your mind a little busy. And, it's good that she had her furniture to take with her and that kind of thing, instead of having to figure it out when she got there. You're right. This is healthy, and it's what's supposed to happen. However, I know that doesn't really mean anything to a mom heart. You know what I mean? That's just,
and it's hard when you watch too much true crime. I will say this, however, on the flip side of that, she also watches a lot of true crime. So she is very, very aware. Yes, I have still on my whiteboard like 3 or 4 cases that she was like, Mom, you need to look into these. And let me tell you something. The ones, there is a couple of them that were just like, I can't talk about these. They were so bad. They're so bad. But yeah. But yeah. So she's,
Well-
you know, I know I raised a smart girl. I know I raised a confident girl, but you know, she's still, to me, she will always be, you know, my little girl.
Yeah.
So-
And she's still a baby, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, in my eyes, but did I say I was 33? I just turned 34. If I said that, I was wrong. I'm not 33, but Music City Mom, I mean that she said she lost both her parents, like they both passed away. Oh, she said that.
I mean, there a lot of people, when a family member gets sent to prison for a crime of this magnitude, they do, even though they're still alive, right? And obviously it's a little under different circumstances with Harley because now she has no communication. Does she have she always has the opportunity to have communication with her mom. She can always write her. And they can always reconnect or whatever. But you know, who knows? I don't know if I don't think that's probably healthy for Harley, period. I think Letecia is just a toxic individual. And she should, you know, she needs to be like put in a glass box with a label saying not to touch, you know, like Annabelle. But I feel like, hi, Christine G, that's me. But I do feel like, I totally forgot where I was going with that. What was I saying? I got caught up. I looked at chat.
Not to touch the Annabelle.
Yes. So in a way, she has actually lost her mom. She'll never have her mom in the way that she would if she had not committed this crime and she was not in prison. So.
Yeah. Just a little side
people
note.
will judge her for talking to her mom too. Watch, if she were to reconcile with her mom and have any type of relationship with her, I promise you people will judge. Why would you want to have anything to do with her? Why would you want to talk to her? Blah, 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 you know, because it's human nature. We can't figure it out, but she's not our mom. That's why we can't figure it out. It's different when it's your family member, especially your mother.
And I think sometimes it doesn't matter what they do, right? You still, I don't know, you still want to talk to them at least to see how they're doing or whatever. By the way, I just want to say Christine G is an incredible graphic designer. She does great work, and she is working on some stuff for me for Real Talk right now. And if anybody has anything that they need stuff like that for, a channel or a website or anything, I would definitely check her out because she does incredible work. And if you want to know where to find her, let me know and I will let you know. But I just had to say that because she's bomb. And I wish that more people knew about her and her work that she does, because she does
incredible work. And I will say this, she taught me. I could have, she and was patient with me when I would go to her and she would explain stuff to me. And I'm not going to lie. Sometimes she would have to explain things to me multiple times before I was understanding what she was explaining. But she taught me a lot. She does incredible work. And I don't know who said it. There was a comment, it just flew by, that said that's why she used her mom up into the trial. And you know what? That's also true. See, the thing is that because she's a human being, she's multifaceted. So all these little things that we're all seeing in her, although they're all different, it doesn't make me right and another person wrong, or me wrong and another person right. Because she's a human, simultaneously, all of these things can be true.
Yeah.
That's something to keep in mind for not tonight's live that I'm doing, but tomorrow night's live.
Okay, well,
I'm just going to leave it at that. To be surprised.
Okay, well, Christine's comment to you. She said, I'm practically psychic, but I love working with you, Jen Lou, for real. You're a great listener. And then the Glitter Theory, new subscriber, don't usually chat, just listen, but just wanted to say I'm here because I don't blame her, because I don't blame Harley, and other channels do. Well, thank you for being here. And then Jen, what are you doing tonight? What can you give us a little preview?
Yes. So tonight I'm just going to do a courtroom catch up. We're going to talk about the recent verdicts and sentencing that's come down. Sidney Powell, Henry Dinkins, Jonathan Quillis, and the one, the only Taylor Shabiasness. Because y'all know I could not watch that sentencing and not comment on it. I watched that thing. I watched it live when it happened. I have so many thoughts, but I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to wait until the first of the month, and today's the first. Mac, I hear you, bro. Just a second. And then we're going to talk about all of that tonight. So I'm going to go live tonight at 9:30.
Okay, well, I cannot wait to hear. And also, I can't wait to hear you talk about Shabizness and her little spit mask thing she had going on and all that stuff.
That's not what I call it, but you'll have to tune in to find out what I call it.
I'm sure you call it something lovely. I was even thinking that when I said it. I was like, I'm going to call it underwear or something. I was like, nope, I'm going to call it what it is, because I'm sure Jin Lu will get very colorful with whatever the hell she was wearing. All right.
I spent the entire time listening to that, trying to figure out if her hair was tied up in it. Do y'all know that I actually got right up to the TV? Don't do that. You won't be able to tell any better. I could not figure it out. It was so distracting to me. It looked like she had like a bun, and then the spit bag thing was tied like around the bun. I could not figure it out, and it was driving me nuts.
Well, you know what that means, right? That means that she been spitting on people. You know what I mean?
I mean, she acted a damn ass fool.
Mm-hmm. She been showing her whole ass. Rachel, I'm still laughing about Aunt Brenda saying, you were big. You were humongous. All right, sweetie, I'm going to let
all
you go.
The shade.
MK
the shade of it all.
We need a humongous emoji, and I'm going to go work on that. I'm going to get that for us. By the time we have those free text calls, yes, we're going to have it. It's too funny. But all right, Jen, thank you for coming on. I love you, and I love
You're welcome. I love you too.
You guys are the best. The mods in here are the best. The channels that they've dropped are incredible as well. So definitely check them out. And I hope to see you guys over at Jen's channel tonight in about an hour.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everyone who gifted. Thank you to the members and everyone else. Thank you for everyone who shared, their personal stories and their experiences. I really do appreciate you so much. Love you all, and have a great night. Bye.
Bye.